Farmers are worried about a
stink bug invasion.
The invasive species is threatening crops.
Lock your doors and close your windows.
And stink bugs are back.
They're back, those pesky stink bugs.
Brown marmorated stink bug has been one of the worst pests that I have dealt with in my entire career. Vegetable crops have been impacted significantly since about 2009. In the mid-Atlantic region, we have had crops such as sweet corn, fruiting vegetables such as peppers, tomatoes, okra, eggplant. All these crops have been hit hard. We have had some farms, for instance, that had total loss of their vegetable crop.
When we first encountered the brown marmorated stink bug in 2010, the densities were quite high and fairly devastating on certain crops, particularly tomatoes. We've had densities of 10 or more stink bugs on a single tomato plant, but very quickly we noticed through time that they were sort of non-selective. They were pretty much eating anything that was available.
We have found that clearly the nymphs and the adults both are very damaging to vegetable crops. But relative to orchards, vegetables seem to be attacked later. Because brown marmorated stink bug is a tree-loving bug, it will probably first attack tree crops. The vegetables come second. That's when the fruiting stages of a lot of vegetables are available, and that's why the bugs are moving in there.
What we see here is about the first week of June, we start to see the first brown marmorated stink bugs in our field crops. And what happens then in terms of damage is that it's most severe for us later in the season, typically about the second or third week of August and then continuing through September, even into October for those crops that we would have out, such as Swiss chard, some of the crops that are still available in the fall season. And often what will happen is in a crop like okra, we'll first see the egg masses, of course, and then the nymphs will kind of start decimating the crop. And it often can be the nymphal stages that are more devastating to the cash crop than the adults, actually.
Brown marmorated stink bug injures vegetables with their piercing, sucking mouth parts, which they can insert into the fruiting bodies of tomatoes, peppers, sweet corn, and bean pods. And the feeding injury themselves results in scarring of the fruit, as you can see here. It's a white, spongy area. If we were to slice that fruit, you would see some whitish area of the fruit tissue. Brown marmorated stink bug can also transmit plant pathogens such as yeasts and bacteria. Some work has been done at University of Maryland to show that there are at least 3 different pathogens that can cause fruit rot after the brown marmorated stink bug has fed upon it. And in this case, tomatoes actually show that. The sunken areas are often where some yeasts have been entered into that fruit and starting to break down that tomato fruit where the brown marmorated stink bug has fed. On bean pods, the brown marmorated stink bug can cause this whitish areas where they've been feeding. We have shown when they feed on immature fruit that haven't fully developed, you can have distorted pods, you can have fruit that are aborted by the plant when the brown marmorated stink bug feeds on them early enough. And all of this can result in significant crop loss to the vegetable grower.
The damage tends to be a little bit different from the damage that we're used to, that would be more of a chewing type of feeding style, because they insert the mouth parts and then are sucking out fluids. Sometimes initially it's hard to pick up on that damage. It's not an evident removal of the crop area. And then later in the season it becomes quite evident, and at that point unfortunately the crop is not saleable.
Consumers seem to demand flawless, immaculate produce. So one of the challenges that we may face as we have brown marmorated stink bug and maybe some other insects are that to educate the consumers that it may be okay to eat some produce that could have a little bit of cosmetic injury to it.